everybody. Welcome to the Ask Rebecca radio show. Thanks for joining me. I hope, let me just stop eating my hair here really quickly. I hope everyone had a great 2 weeks. I'm sorry that I missed you last week. It was a little bit of a rough week for me since my son's birthday was then, and I had a few low days dealing with some sadness. And so I just took some time that I needed when I needed. And usually, you know, right around his birthday, October starts that kind of little bit of a roller coaster through the holidays. But like I preach to all of you, I've got to practice what I preach. So I just had to take time, feel what I needed, work through any emotions, and here I am back feeling better than ever. Okay, well, it was a pretty interesting week with lots of highs and lows for everyone, not to mention more drama playing out on the world stage of politics. It's just, big soap opera happening there. I would just recommend that you try your best to be observant and detached, right? Getting sucked into the whole left-right paradigm of high emotions will only cause you undue stress, anxiety, and separation. And remember, humanity is in the process of moving beyond duality, and things will continue to intensify so that they can fall apart. And it's happening so that you can recognize where there's just this constant pattern of fear that's being pumped out all the time. And that's, most people live in a state of constant fear and anxiety. So those things have to be brought into the light. They have to be brought into our awareness. So we're going to see some more of those things happening so that they can fall apart. But the more that you put negative emotion and energy and feeding into that system, the more, we're perpetuating the continued cycle of the past thousands of years. Like, this is what we're breaking free from. It's going to take an elevated consciousness and a brand new way of being to create real change. And I know it all sounds like woo-woo crap and, spiritual this, and, people have a really negative perspective about it. But that is just what it is, and people can choose to have that negative perspective because that's the beauty of being here on planet Earth. But I personally believe it's also because most haven't been able to master this level of detachment, right? They haven't been able to master this in their own lives to see the results of just how powerful our minds and our spirits are at creating our reality. And our life and experiences isn't just something that's happening to us. We're actually creating all of it in every single second of every single day. And, that's just what we're trying to have to basically just have to recognize. And all the things that are playing out on the world stage is actually all of our baggage that's being released from us. So it plays out. Everything is a mirror reflection of us. So, everybody that hates one side or the other, well, that's just parts of yourself that you hate within you that you can't come to terms with, or that you aren't brave enough to look at within yourself to work on and embrace and love and move forward. So there's just so much things happening on a microcosmic and a cosmic level here that it's so hard to just try to even explain in the short period of time that we have. Those of you that have been watching my spiritual war videos, I will have part 6 out this week for you. And let's move on here. The last 2 weeks, you may have also noticed that you're having very, very vivid dreams, possibly even disturbing dreams at times. Some of them very disturbing. I know I've had some myself. And, that's happening because we're definitely working through some intense energies, which are helping us work out fears in our dreams, among a number of other things. So there's just a lot of purging and cleansing and healing that's happening, even though it may be manifesting through the form of challenges and fears and insecurities and weird dreams and just all kinds of craziness that's happening right now. But at the same time, those dreams may have been really, really profound, and you may have gotten and received some spiritual insight, which is going to help facilitate your spiritual growth. It's going to help facilitate the expansion of your consciousness. which basically means you're going to be seeing things from a higher perspective, not from the limited third dimensional perspective that we're currently in. And that's basically trying to fade away. We're trying to outgrow that. So, you're going to see and notice this stuff happening over the next several weeks and months, where you're all of a sudden just realizing like, hey, this used to bother me. It doesn't bother me anymore. Or maybe something that never bothered you before all of a sudden bothers you. So there's lots of changes that are happening on an internal level, which gets me into what we're going to be going through for the month of October, because we are officially in October. It started off with a full moon, and it ends with a full moon. So, and everything sandwiched in between and maybe a little bit after is going to be very, very, very intense, okay? This month has just all of the dramas, all of the high emotions, everything that you could possibly imagine. This month is just going to basically be somewhat challenging. I mean, there's always sprinklings of positive, but for the most part, it's going to be high emotions, it's going to be drama, and it'll come with some breakthroughs and some positive manifestations as you work through things. Plus, some of the seeds that you've planted from the past could be sprouting, and some of them are actually coming to fruition as well. Like I said, it will be an intense month of working through your baggage. It's all about getting to know yourself on a deeper level. And I don't mean on a superficial level, like what your favorite food is right now. I'm talking about down and dirty, really, really deep about why you believe and think the things that you do, why and how you self-sabotage your life through your words, your actions, your thoughts, your feelings and beliefs, why you project, why you blame, why you aren't taking responsibility for the things in your life, why you keep attracting the same kind of relationships over and over again, just dressed up in different clothes, why you having troubles at work. Like, everything is going to be just magnified. And if you're paying attention and you use the technique that I've talked about, I don't know, a million times over the last 3 years on this show, everything is showing you. God is showing you what you need to be working on. The universe is showing you what you need to be working on. It shows up in your life. You are a magnet for all of your baggage and all of the amazing things that exist inside of you. So just pay attention to what's showing up in your life and what you're dealing with, and you're going to know exactly what you need to work on inside of yourself, right? So it's all about you analyzing yourself on the deepest levels to get better understanding of how your painful situations in the past are causing you to repeat patterns and to attract the same circumstances into your life over and over and over again. It's about you taking full responsibility for everything and allowing yourself to fully go through the emotions to heal and forgive yourself and everyone else. Not just continuing to harbor anger, resentment, and blame towards those you think hurt you. And no doubt they hurt you. No doubt we've all been victims. We've all had shitty lives. We've all had things that have happened to us, right? But it's how you choose to deal with it that is the difference between those you see succeeding, who get knocked down and keep going and their lives are amazing and they're happy and they're healthy and they're attracting all the things that they want, or those who constantly stay in victim consciousness and just keep attracting one negative situation after another, right? So it's all about having to go there. And it's all about recognizing that every situation that you've ever encountered is there to teach you something about yourself. God puts every single person and experience in your life to show you exactly what you accept, what you believe, what you feel, and what you think about yourself. And if you can't recognize yourself in those that show up or the situations that show up into your life, well, then you're going to continue to attract more and more extreme versions of yourself to show you what you need to heal, forgive, and make peace within your life. So, for example, like you just might have, some insecurities surrounding, maybe the way that you look, or maybe you were betrayed in the past, so you haven't gotten over that, and you still blame the person for betraying you, and you can't recognize that, well, maybe you missed some red flags, and you kind of let that person get away with more than they should have, right? So you're not recognizing those things. So what's going to happen is you're going to attract a situation to yourself where maybe all of a sudden you really get this nasty, mean person in your life who all of a sudden is pointing out all your flaws in your body. And that's because you feel that way about yourself, right? And the second that you realize what that person is saying is not true about you, and you need to embrace your insecurities and accept them, because that's how confidence shines through, well, that person is going to fade away. That person is either going to go away because their put downs aren't working on you anymore, or you're going to be a badass person and say, hey, you know what? You can get out of my life because you're just not a nice human being, right? So these are how you work through things. And with the betrayal, you're just going to attract a worse version of what you experienced before. So those are the things that you kind of need to recognize so that you can move through it. And this is all about, these extreme versions are here to show you what you need to heal, forgive, and make peace within your life. And this is you healing the duality within yourself so that you can move into the heart space of God, right? Because where those things don't exist, like that doesn't exist there. That pain and suffering and insecurities and fears and anger and frustration and all those negative things, they don't really exist in the heart space. They might exist in the external world, but they never have control or power over you, right? So you can look at a situation when somebody's going through something and say, oh, you know what? That's their journey. They're going to have to figure it out. You could be compassionate. You could be supportive, but ultimately it's not going to emotionally derail you, and your life is going to be spiraling out of control because you can't master emotional intelligence, right? So it's those things that I'm trying to help you see. And maybe I sound a little harsh sometimes, but I do mean it from the bottom of my heart. I love you guys. I want you to be happy. So basically, we no longer want duality. We no longer want to experience the pain and suffering. We're purging that from our system, and we're moving on. God is moving us along to that golden age, the heaven on earth, or the Garden of Eden realized again, right? So I promise all of this is going to make sense to you guys sooner or later. Some of the things that are going to get triggered this month, so that you can dive deeper, and it's all going to center around relationships, of course, because again, that's our greatest tool in getting to know ourselves, and money. That's the other really big thing. Everybody's, money. The money is what makes the world go around, or that's at least what people think, but ultimately it's not. It's your spiritual side. It's your soul. So it's going to be about relationships. It's going to be about money. You may be seeing and dealing with indecision, uncertainty, doubt, boundaries being crossed, and boundaries needing to be set. There could be just this energy of disagreements and misunderstandings. You'll be working on balancing, budgeting, juggling. Fairness will be a theme, give and take, supporting one another, supporting yourself, cooperation with other people, cooperation with yourself, intimacy, power, control, spirituality, high emotions. There is going to be the strong possibility of violence that is escalating. We could see some major drama, and we can see some major psychological issues coming up. And there's also going to be a theme of I, me, and self versus you, us, we, them, and others. So it's all about finding that balance between loving and supporting yourself, right? So like in my case, I took last week off because I needed to emotionally support myself, and I wasn't going to be able to do that for other people. And, if I had overextended myself and just supported others, meanwhile, I'm letting myself rot and be miserable inside and not dealing with my own stuff, well, that's not going to do anybody any good. And it's certainly not going to help anybody coming to me for sessions, right? So it's like, you've got to nurture and respect and honor and support yourself. And the way that you treat yourself is going to show up in your outside world, right? So I love and respect myself. The people in my life love and respect me. But when there was a time where I didn't love and respect myself, I was surrounded by people that didn't love me and didn't respect me. So put those puzzle pieces together. On the positive, there is positive. And to me, it's all positive. And this is what I talk about, detaching from duality, right? Like, I don't look at challenges, like even with the situation with losing my son, his struggles with addiction and opioids and everything else, and then committing suicide. I could look at that. I could let that tear me down, keep me, just miserable and depressed, and just, I know how easy that could be, right? I let myself get to the point of depression, but what does that do for anybody? What does that do to honor his life and the things that he went through? I would rather use that challenging situation in my life for the positive in, one, strengthening myself, and two, helping others that are in similar situations that I've been through. So again, it's all a matter of perspective. If you can detach from the emotion and not make it good or bad or positive or negative, it all just is. And you're just going through life, and you're staying in the moment, and you're just tackling things as they come up. So, positive situations. There's going to be resolutions to things that haven't had any for you. Plus, there's going to be repressed emotions that are finally coming up and out that need to be felt and need to be dissolved. I would just tell you, what needs to be resolved inside of you. When you're walking around pissed off at the world, or you're sad and you just want to cry, or you're feeling guilty or shameful about something. Just go there and face it and look at it and feel it, instead of letting a situation come to you that forces it up out of you, because that's way worse, right? I'm telling you, it's not as bad if you just go there. So let it come up, feel it, it will dissolve. Feel what you need. It's the only way to set yourself free from attracting situations to bring up those repressed emotions. Now, there will be some positive outcomes from some minor negative karmic things that you may have been dealing with recently, and you can see an expansion happening in projects or things that didn't work out from the month of May. Those could be moving forward again or coming to fruition in some way. There's also energy around father figures, money, pets, healthy, being your health, your physical health, beauty, love, and work. And when I say there's energy around that, it's going to play out in multiple ways. Either some challenging situations are going to come up around these areas, and some positive challenges or, positive situations. So it's kind of, that cause and effect. That's what karma is, cause and effect. Things are coming up. You're purging, you're healing, you're working through it. Mercury retrograde starts on the 13th, so you can expect the usual possibility of miscommunication, change of plans, and confusion. And believe it or not, this month it's not a bad time to take a vacation, or more along the lines of towards the end of the month, right? So after, I would say, like the 22nd of the month on, even if it's just going to the next town over or doing a staycation in your town. On the positive, there's also some awesome opportunities that could pop up out of nowhere to be seized. And, to me, I would say it's best to just go with the flow all month and not force things. Be good to yourself this month, and don't get too caught up in the fact that you may be dealing with some junk to heal. Look at those as positive challenges to strengthen you and help you make the necessary changes that you've been secretly wanting to make anyway. And do not let yourself get pulled into fear this month, because it could trigger health issues with your adrenal glands, kidneys, hips, and knees. Basically, from your kidneys down to your knees, things could come up. Plus, we have Scorpio at play, which rules the genitals, bladder, and reproductive organs. So you could see things happening around that, including pregnancies or fertility issues. We have Mars in Aries also, which can affect the head and brain, besides any sort of physical ailments showing up in this area. Because it rules the head, you can definitely see some stuff where you're putting, you're using your head for, and Scorpio's in alignment with this. So it's like the Scorpio energies and the Aries energies. So you're researching, you're investigating, you're studying, maybe you're spying and snooping on someone. And basically anything to do with mysteries and the esoteric and the occult and psychology, things like that. So you're going to be totally wanting to check those things out. There's a lot going on this month, and it's going to be another intense one for the year 2020, which is all about restriction and working through internal affairs of the self. We're purging, we're letting go, we're learning, we're growing, what works, what doesn't work. We're in the precipice of like massive, massive, massive changes. And, it's been a slow roll, but this is the biggest year, and, it's going to continue on. So I would just say kick back, research, take a look at your life, your goals. Are there things you want to change around love, money, self, work, and any other area? Just get to know yourself better, let go of stuff. And like I've said, I'm certain, just like other people in my field, there's not much happening with forward momentum this year. Obviously some things, but not too much. Let's get into this week's intuitive messages. Here's what you can expect from today, October 6th through October 13th, as an overall theme, and areas of love, work, finances, health, and spirituality. This week, you could receive some surprising news. You may also feel restless and anxious at times, worrying about everything and nothing at all. Issues of trust could come up. Someone in your life who used to be kind may all of a sudden seem more angry or upset. This person can be you as well. You may also be helping someone with a situation. There's a possibility of explosive anger and aggression. Again, okay, this is, I've talked about this over the last few months on different occasions. Do not get into verbal altercations with people. Do not turn in, don't get into on the road if some guy passes you or some person passes you and, they cut you off or they're driving aggressively. Don't get involved, okay? Don't get involved. There's people that are off the rails right now that is just not very healthy. Matter of fact, I saw a video last night of someone here locally, altercation on the road, guys driving by, shows a gun, the other guy, mind you, who had a camera going in his vehicle, pulls out his gun and then just starts shooting through his own windshield, like just ridiculous. I mean, just stupid. But anyway, so it's not worth it, right? So do not get into any altercations. Walk away. You have absolutely nothing to prove to anyone, including yourself. Energy around resentment and judgment. You may also try to overdo things this week, and a strong possibility of heavy emotions arising. There's plenty of energy around work and career concerning accomplishments, but it could show up more like having a difficult time concentrating or focusing on tasks that you need to get accomplished thanks to the high emotions, and maybe you've got some drama going on in love, money, or other areas of your life. On the positive, you could receive lots of support that you may also accomplish some difficult tasks, right? So there's this happy medium with it, and some of you will have some happy surprises pop up this week as well. Work, for those of you employed, this week it's highs and lows. 1 minute you love your job, the next minute you don't. Same goes for 1 minute you're vibing with your coworkers, the next minute you can't stand them. One day your boss is really cool, the next day they suck. Or maybe it's a combination, you love the job this week and then you hate the boss, and there's just lots of possibilities for misunderstandings and jumping to conclusions. And you could also see just people stirring up drama. Don't let that person be you at work, right? And somebody's just making things difficult with their overly controlling ways as well. So don't let that be you either. Try not to be the control freak. There's just a lot of rigidness this week, so we could just see that be part of the drama. For those of you that are looking for a job, I'm getting a connection to, for some of you, either a woman in your life, or you're going on an interview and it's a woman that potentially is going to either hire you or help you get a job. But this, and for some of you, this is not a woman, this is actually the feminine energy. So this is a person that's more in, somebody I would consider being and feeling and is very present in the moment. That's going to have some connection for you. And then another, some of you interviewing, I'm getting to make sure that you are asking questions too, right? That you're engaged. Love, those of you in committed relationships, new lovers are In love this week, there's a possibility of a birth of a child or a pregnancy. Longer committed couples could experience intimacy and connection as well, while others may be dealing with misunderstandings. Think before you speak. And remember, that person's just showing you parts of yourself. The last caution with that is don't be forceful with your love. Patience, practice patience. Those of you looking, new love or a new date, pregnancy here too, so make sure you're protecting yourself. Finances, you're getting creative with your money. Some of you are holding on too tightly this week or behaving aggressively with your money. Caution for some of you with trusting others with your money or finances. Health, caution with movement, walking, driving, biking. You get the idea, anything in motion. Also a caution around overindulging in food, drugs, alcohol, exercise, and dieting. Forgiveness work and loving your body and self. Lastly, spirituality, practice patience and love with yourself. Be open to growth, but not in a hurry. Balance body, mind, and spirit. Very spiritual week for you guys. That wraps up the intuitive messages. Thanks for tuning in. I hope everybody has a great week, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.